Podcast City Network. The Everett Lee Show.
Welcome to the Everett Lee Show. I'm the Everett Lee. Want to give a shout out to everyone that follows me on social media. Facebook, Everett Lee Show. Twitter, at the Everett _Lee. Instagram, Everett Lee. YouTube, Everett Lee. And of course, Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Be creative, be yourself. Head over to podcastcity.net. Hit them up on Facebook, Podcast City Network. Twitter, at Podcast City Net. Here we are. The 250th episode. I could have had a high-profile guest come on from the world of independent wrestling or from the world of independent film. However, I decided to pull up and discuss a episode that was supposed to happen but never did and has not been talked about for the last 7 years. On this 250th episode is the Forgotten Concert of GWAR. That's right, GWAR. You may have remember GWAR from my generation, Gen X, 90s. Beavis and Butthead, first time I got exposed to GWAR. But over the years, I'd listen to GWAR, listen to songs here and there. I love the band's theatrical stuff they do on stage, which me and the returning McShaft, who hasn't been on the podcast since episode 100, comes on. And the man with two left feet, Brady Gibson, who was on the podcast 6 years ago on episode 14 when he was promoting the Pokemon Go pub crawl. If you remember that episode, go back on Facebook Live or go back on the audio portions. Well, actually, Facebook Live. It only exists on there because a lot of the old stuff from back in that day, you can only find on my Everett Lee Show page on Facebook Live. So please check that episode out. Go back there. That's a long way back, but 6 years. Wow. But how does the man with two left feet, Brady Gibson, fit into this? Well, he adds his 2 cents in on comparing notes because he got to see GWAR at the 2021 Daytona Beach Rockville that was here back a few months ago. So he got to see GWAR live. He chimes in on his 2 cents on it. But mostly me and McShaft, we discuss what happened in 2015 when we went to see GWAR in Jacksonville, Florida, at a club that don't exist no more, thank God. You'll hear more about that place here on this episode. And you're going to hear about our time there and our experience and talking about the opening bands for GWAR in this small club in Jacksonville that we seen them at, and the aftermath of what happens when you leave a GWAR concert. Those who follow the band and are fans, you know what I'm talking about, because it took me a few good, actually 2 showers to get everything off. You know what I'm talking about, man. You'll see how I came upon this and the story behind this here, because it's great and it needed to be discussed because it hasn't been discussed in the last 7 years. Let's jump into this conversation right here and hear our experiences of GWAR, the Forgotten Concert, right here on this 250th episode of the Everett Lee Show. You won't believe who just showed up on my doorstep here. The man with 2 left feet, Brady Gibson, is back.
What's going on, guys?
6 years, man, here with Wooly McShaft.
Also known as Dr. Chad Thundercock.
Guys, man, Brady, I haven't, like I was saying before I hit record, man, we haven't seen you, all three of us hasn't been in the same room since we did the Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I think that was back in April of 2016, right? No, it was probably after April. I think it was right after the game came out and we put together the bar crawl.
Yeah.
And I think that's the last time we got together and actually done a solid podcast or show together.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dog just hit the wire on this new mic. I had to pull out the third
Dog
mic,
sticks
man.
his balls here. He's jumping
Yeah,
up.
my dogs will be excited about right there with you, Brady.
Speaking of balls, did you hear about that that new NASCAR kid that's taken over Richard Petty's number?
No.
He's driving Richard Petty's car, and apparently he got arrested today for like felony assault for kneeing some kid in the balls and literally blowing his ball in half. Yeah. So,
Wow.
I know, right? Damn.
That's messed up, man. One of the things that I asked you to come over here tonight, McShaft, was to talk about a episode that we've never ever mentioned or talked about it. It was tweeted. There's photos. How I came upon this was the other day. Amanda asked me to look up some pictures for Callie. So I was on here and I was looking on my drive here, looking at some pictures, and all of a sudden I came across a folder. And that folder right here said, I'll pull it up right here, GWAR Concert 9915. I was like,
damn.
Oh my God, I forgot about this, man. And I thought back and I said, we were supposed to do a podcast a few days afterwards, which to talk about our time there at the concert, which never happened because you had to go to work or something and you weren't able to come back on for a long time to talk about this.
Yeah.
And I uploaded the pictures and they've been sitting here since 2015. And I got to thinking to myself, I said, you know what? This is a story that needs to be told. Everyone needs to hear this. Have you heard about this story, Brady?
I'm sure at some point I've heard the story because it was around 2015. I believe I think you tried to get me to go to that as well.
Yes, I did.
But I think it was right around the time when I was still in school the first time at the Daytona State, so I don't think I was able to make it. The only reason I remember it is because Cody was so hell-bent, if you will, on wearing these white shirts so he could save them and frame them with all of the fake blood and guts that he was going to get covered in at this show.
Yep.
And it was front row or nothing with him.
Right.
So, how many times have you seen GWAR?
This was the first time I seen him though, but
Right. Have you seen him since?
No, I
So
haven't
you've seen him once.
I've seen him once.
How many times have you seen GWAR?
Once within the last year.
Okay, and both of you saw him when they had their latest singer here. This is after Odorous died.
Who's their latest singer?
It's what's his name? Pustulus Maximus, I think, or something like that. Oh no, Blothar. It's Blothar. Blothar used to be Beefcake the Mighty, the bass player back in the day, and he left the band and rejoined as the new vocalist after Odorous died.
Oh, okay.
I've seen him a couple of times with Odorous and a few times with this new guy too. I probably got maybe like, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 times I've seen GWAR.
Yeah, so you've seen him the most out of me and Brady.
Yeah.
So
which is
me
gonna be
and Brady's only
interesting
seen him
because you guys only seen him once.
Right.
And, oh my gosh.
Now, how did you find out about this? Because of course you follow a lot of bands.
Yeah,
right?
it just like most things, just popped up on Facebook. Said, we're on tour now. So I just looked up the dates and I saw it was in Jacksonville Beach, and I looked at the price of the tickets and they were like, cheap. They weren't like, not cheap, but like, they weren't like $50 a ticket. They were like, I think $20.
Right.
So I'm like, well, shit, you can't beat, $20 and go get shot at, with blood and guts from GWAR. 'Cause, it's not just a concert you go to.
Right.
It's an entire show. It's theatrics. Like, back in the day, GWAR's music wasn't the best, but that's not why people wouldn't sell them. They wouldn't sell them because of the whole theatrics and the stage show.
I remember GWAR from MTV, my generation, back in the early 90s. Oh. I discovered GWAR, Beavis and Butthead. That's how I discovered it.
I think it was more of the Viva La Bam era.
Oh, yeah?
When I first figured out who they were, I'm almost positive they were on an episode of Viva La Bam at some point.
They showed up at his house and played a concert.
That's right.
Yeah. I forget which season. I have all 4 seasons of Viva La Bam. I'll have to go back and look at that.
And I can tell you, over the years, they've evolved so much. They make their own costumes. They do everything themselves.
Right.
And they, each tour cycle has a different theme to it. Like one year, they had the giant Tyrannosaurus Rex that would come on stage and like eat people and they'd battle it. One year it was like, I think, Bone Snapper. One year it was Volvatron, the chick that would come out and she'd shoot blood out of her nipples. One year they had a pit, and and they would bring fans on stage and throw them in the pit on stage and stuff.
Nice.
You know, so it was just like one year they had like a giant toilet that was possessed and would shoot like yellow like liquid out and stuff. Yeah, you know, and
Wow.
it's just, and I mean, of course they have all their like fake celebrities that they bring up there, you know, and they cut in half and hack up, like, you know, Obama was on there, I think Hillary Clinton was on there, Trump's been on there,
George Bush.
George
probably.
Bush, yeah, like the political figures. I think
Right.
Britney Spears was on there, Justin Bieber I think was on there one time, you know, and you know, it's interesting how like each tour cycle, you know, they keep it relevant, they keep it updated, you know, to what's going on. When we saw them, so this is the show we never talked about, they had a mystical tablet that they used, and they would like, you know, interact with it and stuff like that. And what did they have at? Because you saw them at Rockville, Brady.
I did see him at Rockville.
What was theirs?
So, full disclosure, we didn't stay for the full GWAR set. We showed up enough just to see, you know, the theatrics, if you will, because I think somebody else was playing around the same time on a bigger stage that they were playing. But I know they had Viola. Is that what?
Volvatron. I think it was Volvatron. I think.
And I remember they had the shooting the blood out of the nipples,
Yep.
and cutting the guy's head off, and then just spraying
Yep.
everyone in the front row.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was for never seeing them. It was good. Very theatrical. It's an experience for sure.
Yeah.
And we actually had 3 bands that night. We had GWAR, we had Butcher Babies, and what was the first one? It was
Battle
Cry.
it was Battlecross.
Battlecross.
Right there.
Battlecross.
Now the thing was, you tell me about this. You say, hey, GWAR's going to be playing in Jacksonville at this club called Freebird Live, and you said that you were going to go. Brittany was going to go, and you were supposed to go, like you said.
I was supposed to go.
Yeah, and that didn't happen because you.
I was still in school at the time, had something going on. I distinctly remember the conversation about them playing in Jacksonville solely based on never hearing of the band before, but never had any real desire to see them live. But Cody's big claim to fame with this was like
You get covered
white T-shirt covered in blood.
Yeah.
And like,
Right.
that's the way to
It's
do
like
it. And
purple,
like,
green, like all kind of stuff.
you know, my mind instantly goes to like, all right, so I'm not in my car because, you know, God knows how much stuff we're gonna get on everybody. But yeah, I
Yeah.
remember the conversation.
My first GWAR show, I kind of knew, like, you know, they obviously like covered people and stuff, but I didn't realize like they covered everybody.
Oh, it's got some distance to it. I mean,
Yeah.
even when I saw them at Rockville, I mean, we were a good, like, and I took an extra couple steps back just because, like, I already knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I still think I got a little bit of splash, if you will.
See, I saw 'em-
I mean, I was still probably a good 50, 75 feet from the stage.
My first time
it was going.
My first time was House of Blues, and I was like,
Was that
almost
in Orlando there?
yeah, and I was like
Okay.
almost to the front, but not really in the front, and I was getting blasted in the face. Let me tell you, there's pressure behind that.
Oh yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Yes.
and I mean, I didn't realize I was stained red for 3 days, and my parents didn't know because I was still in high school then, and they didn't know what GWAR was really. So me and my friends walked out of the show just covered, and my mom was just like, "Oh my God, my car seats are gonna get red."
You came by and picked me up,
Yep.
and you told me ahead of time because at this time, 2015, how many times you already seen GWAR prior to
Probably
this? already?
like 6 or 7.
6 or
Yeah.
7. Okay, 6 or 7 times, and you told me wear bring an extra pair of pants, extra shoes,
Yep.
extra socks, extra shirt,
Yep.
all that stuff,
whole
and.
thing.
I'm glad I did. I am glad I did because we got in the car in Daytona Beach, Jacksonville. That's probably what? How long?
Hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes, yeah, hour and a half.
Yeah, I drive to the Mayo quite frequently. Hour and 20 minutes.
Hour 20 minutes. So on our way driving up there, we get to Freebird Live there, and we park, and It's you, me, and Brittany, and we walk out across a way there, and
It
there's
was like-
already a line.
It was maybe like it was like on a boardwalk kind of place.
Yeah.
And they had GWAR's tour bus there. You could see them like loading stuff around and everything.
Oh yeah, because we had to go around the back there to the backside, and we had to get back to the line there. And while we're sitting in the line there, we're just sitting there just chilling and talking, and I guess we struck up conversation with people in line there. They were pretty cool. As we're getting closer, McShaft, if you noticed, you pointed something out in the back. You said there was some of the band there. I guess it was Battlecross or Butcher Babies.
GWAR. Yeah, GWAR.
Where it's getting ready, and you hit me on the shoulder, and you're like, look, and I was like, what? And you're like, it's GWAR. And it was a road crew or whoever it was.
Their bass player was their new bass player. He had new, or not to say new, but yeah, their latest bass player. He was there with some of the stage hands because they set up their own equipment. They tuned their own equipment and stuff. Like when we were in there, and they were like, before they came out, they were like on stage doing their own stuff. You know, like I knew what they looked like without their costumes on to begin with. So I'm like, there they are. You know, I mean, it's a real band. They do their own stuff. You know.
Yeah, they do their own stuff. It's kind of like Ted Nugent. You heard about Ted Nugent? He sets up his own stuff. I know you're laughing about that. Nugent.
What about Ted Nugent? Please tell me, Gibson. What about Ted Nugent?
Cat scratch fever.
My memory, because I don't think I'm wrong, but I could be wrong. Is Ted Nugent the one that called Tyler the asshole on Facebook?
Yes.
What happened? I gotta hear this.
So our friend Tyler.
I don't remember the story fully, but something happened. Ted Nugent posted something.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was political based or what.
And our friend Tyler, at the time, he was the biggest, like...
He was a big Ted Nugent fan.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like, I mean, over the top, like, Ted Nugent's great, da-da-da.
Yeah.
He posted something he didn't agree with.
And Ted Nugent himself posts on his stats and called him, like, you're a fucking asshole. And it's just like...
That's great.
Like, could you imagine?
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a phrase like "never meet your heroes," and
Yeah.
there you
Well, John Schaefer.
go.
God.
Schaefer.
Yeah.
John Schaefer.
The guitar player for Iced Earth. John Schaefer?
Okay.
Yeah.
Part of the whole Capitol riot.
You met him?
No. So Camden was a big
Camden
John
was a
Schaefer
big
guy.
John Schaefer.
Oh,
And then he
yeah,
finally
Camden.
like met him, and the dude just like blew him off. Yeah.
Oh, man. Poor
Yeah.
Camden.
I mean, it is what it is. Probably better off after
Yeah, after all that.
being
Yeah.
affiliated with
Yeah.
It's gone down the last couple of years. Just,
Yeah.
Of all the wrestlers I met, I only had one bad brush off with a wrestler. I'm not going to say who it is. They're not around anymore. They passed away. But
Yeah. So we got there. We got in, and you know what? One of Brittany's coworkers, her friend's Tom, he was there.
oh yeah, okay.
And he was talking to us for a while, and because he had never seen GWAR either.
yeah.
And
I forget that Tom's into all that.
yeah.
Like, the heavy metal stuff and things
Yeah.
like that. I think it's just funny seeing all, like, the really pictures of him. You don't get that, like, idea of him. And I remember, like, run into him, like, I see him at Rockville and a lot of the concerts and stuff.
Now, when we did get inside there, because Freebird Live, because if you remember how it was set up, they had downstairs and they had upstairs.
Yep.
Upstairs is already packed.
Yep.
Because the people ahead of us already, that's where they went. But then when you first walk in, the stage was like basically right there.
To the left,
There's
yeah.
probably not that much.
It was probably equivalent to maybe like half of the size of House of Blues, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
Really? 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, even, I mean,
Maybe a little bit
by
bigger
my
than half.
standards, I think House of Blues is still a pretty tiny venue.
Yeah.
Run.
Oh yeah.
You would
I mean, I just saw Killswitch
call,
there, and that place was packed.
National.
We're at House of Blues.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming from somebody that's a giant Data River fan and watched them sell out Orlando House of Blues 2 nights in a row and then add an extra night just to sell it out again. I mean, to sell out House of Blues
Yeah.
3 nights in a row, even for like a local Ocala band, is a huge thing.
And this venue was small. It was smaller than House of Blues, I can tell you that.
You've never been to Freebird Live up in Jacksonville. You know what we're
I would
talking
say-
about. Have you heard about it, right?
I've heard about
Brady?
it.
It's
but I
it's
can't
closed down
recall
since.
off the top of my head if I'd actually been there. I've been to several, venues over several years, going around with Camden and, Seven Kingdoms and all
Where was
those
the
guys.
Stephen Piercy show up in Jacksonville?
Oh God, that was with Rat, and
Yeah.
dude, this was
'Cause I was there. I remember that.
this was a whole I was, God, maybe 14, and I mean
Yeah.
I'm stressing maybe 14.
Well, the size of that venue, if you remember how small that was.
It was a hole in the wall. I remember it was almost
yeah.
like an old biker dive bar, like to the point like where the stage probably went to like the top of a desk, maybe 4.5, 5 feet.
Yeah.
And like that was.
That's how this was. Like the stage was not very tall, so you knew you were gonna get blasted by everything that GWAR had, and because it was small, like they had all the PA systems in the house covered with the like they were. I mean, everything on the wall decor was like taped off, like they were there was no escaping it.
I mean, when we saw them at Rockville, I mean, it was a smaller stage, but there was still a good amount of people. So like I can't imagine being crammed into.
This was small because so when you first walk in, you had the stairs over to the right to go up, and then you had the stage, which was like right here. Here's the door. Here's like basically like the stage, and you had this much room, and then on the side down here on the left, you had the bar, and then I remember we found a spot almost next to a pole because it was standing room. There was no sitting. And then I went over to the bar, and we went over there to get. Over there to get. Brittany found a spot for us.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I found a picture.
Oh, did you pull up
on the inside?
It's kind of. It reminds me of like, House of Blues.
Yeah, I mean it's tiny. Yeah.
The sides, but like that's tiny.
Yeah. It's narrow. I can tell you that.
It is.
Yeah.
So when me and you went over to the bar there, and we were checking out the merchandise tables. Do you remember what merchandise tables they had over there, McShaft?
Most of it was GWAR. They had and Butcher Babies, and maybe like one or two things of like Battlecross. But Butcher Babies was still like they were like the new like big thing.
They're still coming out kind of on the scene. Back then they weren't really like blown up yet. It was
they were in the process of blowing up. They had just I think released a new album.
Right, but this was probably one of their first like headliner tours that they were doing with GWAR. And I imagine, but it was Butcher Babies, and then like GWAR and Battlecross like support bands kind of.
Yeah.
And most of it was just GWAR. I mean, most of it was like tour shirts and their albums, stuff like that.
Right.
But I mean, there wasn't a whole lot because there wasn't like a big merch area. I mean, it was a small venue, as you saw.
Yeah.
And then I look over, and this guy right here, I never forget this. He goes, "All right, be right back. I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette real quick."
Well,
outside.
Well, you're jumping ahead of yourself there.
Okay.
Yeah, let's.
I'm like, oh fuck, like.
Well, I get out there, the first time I did it twice. I got out there, I smoked a cigarette because the show didn't start yet. I come back and I grab a drink because we were looking at the merchandise. Yeah. I grab a drink and we get over there. As soon as we get over to Brittany, all of a sudden we're sitting there, drinking our beer. Now there's a funny story because after I killed that first beer, man. I fucking killed it. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna go another one, and you guys looked at me like, really? You just drink? Oh yeah, I killed it. I was like, I'm gonna go another one. So when I walked over to the bar, do you remember the bartender? You ever noticed, like, when there's a hot bartender, you got one person that has to try to hit on the bartender.
Oh, every time.
Because here's the thing: the bartender.
This is the part where Denver told us it was him.
No. No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But anytime someone tries to hit on the bartender, there's two things that's going to happen. One, their husband's there, or two, their boyfriend or husband is the bouncer, and they're going to bounce their ass out of there because they're going to keep pressing their luck. So this guy, I guess he already killed some alcohol, and he said to her, "You're the most beautiful girl I have ever seen." And I'm looking, and I'm like, oh my God. Come up with something else, man. But I get another beer. We get over there. Boom. The first band it starts is Battlecross. People are kind of like scattered at this point. They weren't really into it because it was like everyone was there for GWAR. This is GWAR.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like when you go see Maiden. It's like it don't matter who the first opening band is. Like nobody really cares, and half the time, like with Slayer, they would boo like the opening bands off the stage until Slayer came out.
Right.
Same with Maiden. They were just like, whatever, no one really cares, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the opening back when you see anything at House of Blues. If it's not anyone that's on a national headline, because a lot of these bands get like local support bands to like open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, that was the big thing when I went and saw GWAR was the last band that I saw live with Miss May I, and you know those guys have both been around for a while. I couldn't tell you who the opening band was.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what they even sounded like. I know I was there. I know I watched their full set, and it was, you know, relative and enjoyed it, but can't tell you who they were.
Right. So the first band, Battlecross. Any of you guys familiar with Battlecross?
I wasn't before that show, no.
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 Nah.
No.
I wasn't even familiar with them
I got their
at
album,
all.
though, after. I liked them a lot. They were like, they kind of reminded me of Holy Grail. They were like a, like a thrashy kind of like power band.
Right.
Yeah. It sounded pretty good. They got a set list right here. Have you heard any of these songs here? Force Fed Lies, Beast, Not Your Slave.
Pursuit of Honor, I think that was the first one I heard from them.
Pursuit of Honor, okay.
Yeah.
Push, Pull, Destroy. So they did 8 songs. They kind of got the crowd kind of like,
Yeah.
you know,
The crowd was really into them.
the crowd was, and they didn't expect that response from the crowd, because when an opening band gets a good response from the crowd, that means the crowd, you got a good crowd that night.
Well, I think too, they're one of those. They weren't just like some random like local band though. They're like a pretty decently known band.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, they weren't like at GWAR's level, but I mean, they're known like as like
Right.
an underground like kind of like thrashy band. So
Right.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them?
You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
I might have, but not enough to
yeah.
stick and remember the name.
Well, I remember back in 1999 when I went to see Creed up in when I lived in Knoxville.
Oh Lord!
Oh
my stepmom,
You saw him with arms wide open.
yeah, it was during the Human Clay tour actually. Seven Dust.
So.
Seven Dust opened up for him.
I love Seven Dust.
And they had another band that opened up for them. I don't know. They had one hit on the radio. They actually played it down here on, at the time on 101. It was a band called Mono Apes. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. They opened up. Man, they killed it. The crowd. They got a good response from the crowd. I think they did a 45-minute set, and when an opening band does like a good 45 minutes and you get a good response from the crowd, you got a good crowd. Like you said, you've went and seen bands where the opening band got booed off stage. What's the worst one you ever been at where you've seen a band get booed off stage?
I mean, not really bad. I mean, it's just like, you know, when they get them playing one of their songs, some people were like clapping to be respectful. You know, some people maybe clapped a little bit because they enjoyed it, and some people were just like, you know, that sucked, you know, or all right, where's, you know, opening band's name or whatever, you know, like, you know, but nothing like really bad. Like they weren't throwing stuff at them or anything. So
Yeah.
I don't think I've gotten
you ever
experienced that. I mean, I've had a lot of exposure just, you know, from being around Camden growing up and seeing a lot of bands. So I don't think I can recall anybody actually getting booed off stage. I mean, I know I've seen some opening bands where I kind of just stood there and was just like, yeah, it was cool, but like I don't like.
What was the one at
Cringy?
Deland? What was the
Kinda
one? At,
cringy?
what about the one at Deland Rock and Metal Festival?
God.
The
What
dude.
year?
You're pulling memories way.
What year? I
it
was there at 2010.
It wasn't last year we did it. It was the year before. Is when they had Massacre there.
I think that was probably 2011.
2009.
So it was.
2009.
It was
2012, 11, and 10.
Okay.
Was it-
I was
was
there.
it-
I was there at 10. St. Pete.
I'm trying to think of what. No, it wasn't St. Pete. No, Deland.
We always in Deland.
No, wait. The Rock and Metal Festival.
Yeah,
Deland
Deland.
Rock and Metal.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Deland,
thought you
yeah.
said Power Fest.
No, you're thinking.
I was there at that.
You're thinking Blind Guardian.
Yeah, Blind Guardian. Great
Yeah.
band.
So it had to have been either when the band got on stage and the first song, their bass player like fell off the stage with his guitar, got up, packed up his guitar,
Damn.
and left. He left with them still playing, and then quit the band.
He fell. Okay. Look.
So they started playing their first song.
So
And
he
he's kind of dancing with his bass, and he falls off the stage, and everyone's just like, "Huh?" And then like he gets up and he's like pissed, and he climbs back on stage, walks back, puts his guitar in his case, pulls his cords out, walks off with his case to his car, takes off, and then 5 minutes later goes on their Facebook page and announces that he quits.
Really? So both you guys were there?
Yeah.
I was there. So here's the thing, like, when I'm at the shows, like, we're usually running around and doing different things. Like, I remember one year we were, me and Cody running a stage, and then it was Camden and Tyler running another stage. So a lot of the times when the bands were playing, we were making sure that the next coming up band was back lines, ready to go on stage, everyone was staying on time.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we got to catch sets and hear things and like that, but like, there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes that I don't think a lot of people see and realize. That I couldn't tell you how many bands I actually saw over the course of the three or 4 years that we did this. You know, it definitely kind of blends together, especially now that we're going back over 10 years.
Well, I think at that time, we were very efficient.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, some of the bands would just share like amps or like drum sets.
Right. And we just backlined everything.
Yeah. So it was most of our setup. So sometimes we'd be able to like get them on stage. They'd be plugging everything, and we could go check out the band that was on the other stage.
Okay.
Sometimes we would catch this stuff.
So you guys were pretty much roadies for Seven Kingdoms.
I mean,
sort of.
I don't think Camden and them, they played it one time. We were more just kind of involved with the function of the shows and the.
I mean, I did that in Europe and stuff with them for.
Oh yeah, that's
for
right.
a while.
You did go to Europe.
Yeah, you're European. Yeah, you're European.
But I mean, as far as like the Land Fest, though, I mean. No, I mean we just were stage managers pretty much. I think.
Yeah. A lot of that just came together. Just I grew up, born and raised in Blaine. Cameron's been in the music scene now for
as long as I
He was mentioned the other day. I mean, it's been almost 18, 20 years.
Because I mean, we started. We started playing in bands when we were still in high school. So
right.
Probably like freshman, sophomore year. So
right.
Probably 2000.
And I think by the time that I really got into the scene,
I remember that
everything over here in Daytona was pretty much shut down, and Blaine didn't really have a venue, if you will.
Yeah.
For shows to play.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started doing, or when Camden started doing Blaine Rock and Metal Festival, at OB's, it just, location was good, the idea was good, it just, it came together really nicely for 3 years.
It just happened that some people moved in behind that land and didn't like loud music, which you moved in behind a biker bar and had connections with the city and got it,
Yeah, that was messed up situation there.
But though, the bass player, I think the only time I've heard someone really get booed was when this guy it was Rock and Metal Festival, Blaine Rock and Metal Festival, and the guy was playing, and I think it was just him and one other guy, and
the duo, right?
Yeah, and his guitar string broke.
Oh, yeah.
And so, after the song, you think he would either have a second guitar or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's literally pulling out his guitar strings, and he doesn't know how to restring his own guitar.
And this is the guy that we had to tell, hey, this is cutting into your set time.
Yeah.
He
didn't know how to.
I hate to break it to you, but your clock's still going. We still have a schedule.
He didn't know how to restring his guitar. So after about 10 minutes of that, one of the other bands just said, "Here, take my guitar." So he grabbed another dude's guitar, let him loan it, and then he tried to plug it in and couldn't figure out how to plug it in with his pedals and stuff. He had no idea how to hook his own system.
Really?
So this time people were actually kind of booing and stuff.
What was that?
Oh my God! Really?
I don't know if they were considered.
I'm gonna grab another drink.
A band. That's
it really wasn't like a band. It was just two guys.
That's messed up, man.
Yeah, and God, yeah, and people were booing.
I think the craziest. Well, I'm not gonna say the craziest thing because Rockville this year was pretty crazy. I mean, that whole experience this last year was out of this world. But as a adolescent coming up in the scene, I think the craziest thing that I witnessed at a show was at the Rat Show in Jacksonville, and I just distinctly remember a very drunk Steven Piercy just puts the mic out there for some guy to sing. Guy grabs the mic, sings, gets pissed off, and then just punches dude in the face. And I don't know what
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. And then the funny thing is even after the show I have this picture of me and him just look, it's funny. And it's hysterical to me because I think Was it last year or was it right before COVID? I mean, these last 3 years have kind of just blended together in my mind. But they like had that commercial where it's like, "Oh, do you have a rat infestation?"
Oh yeah, and it was rat playing
in the basement.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Man,
I love that.
Like, doesn't look as bad as he did live.
Botox, probably.
That's my favorite. That was actually my favorite Geico commercial.
Yeah, it is.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like
Round
that.
Was it Geico?
Yeah,
it was
Oh,
Geico.
round and
Yeah.
round,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, yes.
But
Yeah,
like, nobody really booed off
Battlecross.
Battlecross.
Yeah.
They just,
Right.
I mean, they were kind of getting into it. But I'll tell you what, though, I did hear some boos though when Butcher Babies came on, even though like people were kind of like
You
getting
did?
into it.
I don't remember
because
that.
to be honest, they were not my favorite band. They were not.
I think it was a very new era style of I don't want to say pop metal, but it
Kind
definitely wasn't the traditional style that like we usually gravitate towards.
Yeah.
And like I said, I have not looked into their stuff a whole lot just because like generally for me, if I hear 2 or 3 songs and it doesn't grab right away, like I don't investigate further into it.
Same here,
I can
usually.
probably get a good gist of what the band's gonna sound like.
Well, to give you a heads up, there's 2 chicks that do vocals. One screams and one sings.
You've seen Butcher Babies, right, Brady?
Yeah.
No, you have not.
I've heard the name. I can't
Well-
remember.
The thing about Butcher Babies.
Well, here
is
you
that
go.
One screams and one sings. But the thing about it is
Right there.
that majority of their set, the 2 girls are just trying to play into the crowd.
So I was thinking that this was the trio of Chinese girls.
No.
That's baby metal.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Look right there. I'm showing Brady the pictures from the GWAR concert.
there was something like this that kind of played at Rockville this last year,
They
and I don't know if it was them or not.
They
but
tried to
very
play
similar.
into the crowd way too much with the, like, all right, let's go, clap your hands, or trying to make the crowd sing to the mic, which a lot of people don't know their songs,
Right.
Like, come on,
See.
we're up on you. You know what I'm saying? They tried so
Basically, you had two very attractive women singing metal. Arch Enemy.
hard. Oh,
Okay.
no. I mean,
No, the first singer from Arch Enemy,
they
she was very attractive.
that was a growl. That was not.
Well, no, I'm talking about looks. I'm not talking
gotcha.
about performance.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, both of them were very attractive. Okay, and it's kind of like the first lead singer from Arch Enemy, which I'm forgetting the name of, but that's basically you had 2 attractive. How often do you see 2 attractive women singing and doing metal? You know what I'm talking about? Because didn't you say one of them was a model, or they look? Huh?
Kitty, that's a whole band for them.
Yeah,
Kitty.
yeah. They're all good. They're all very attractive. Yeah.
Oh.
But Butcher. I mean, yeah, they were up on stage trying to get the crowd going.
And to me, what kind of turned me off to them was their songs. Like you said, it was like that pop metal kind of thing, almost kind of genre, at best to describe it. It made it sound like they were trying too hard to play like a bunch of like radio hits, basically. Like they made their songs sound way too.
Commercial.
Yeah.
That's what.
poppy,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just like, I mean, that's just my opinion, personally. I didn't really care for them that much.
Okay,
There's
so they did
Battlecross,
play
yeah.
Rockville this last year. I did watch them. Excuse me.
They
Let
did
me
play-
Rephrase everything that I just said.
They did play
So it
Rockville.
wasn't a group of Asian girls.
So you did.
No.
So you're saying you did see
I
at the
did see Butcher Babies live in Rockville this past year. Yeah.
All right.
I did not know that's who this was, but I did stand there and watch the set. I think it was because it was later on in the evening, and again, there was a big crowd. But you have a blonde and another girl with blue dyed hair.
Yeah.
Naturally, there's going to be a demographic that gravitates towards that as a live performance.
Yep.
that would probably be her right there.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
This is
Because at this
100%.
time,
They-
2015, she had red
Yeah,
hair.
yeah. She was blonde, and
Wow.
from what I can remember, it wasn't horrible. It was not horrible by any means, but definitely not like what I would stand there and watch a full set for.
Yeah.
And that's coming from just from the lineup of
Rockville.
in 2021. My big hits for that weekend were a lot of the bigger bands, especially what's left of Leonard Skinner. Just on the
what's left of Leonard Skinner.
I'm saying that because it's not Ronnie Van Zant. Like
I'm trying to think.
Listen,
I think
times as I've been at a concert and I've heard some drunk guy yell "Freebird." Like,
who hasn't?
Right,
Who
exactly.
hasn't?
I think it's just the drummer. I think he's the last.
I think there's 3 of them.
Ronnie Van Zant's brother still does front Freebird.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Yeah, he
so,
does.
I remember they played later on in the evening because they were a bigger headliner band. They played a bigger stage. My biggest thing was to see Simple Man live, just because it's Simple Man. Like regardless if it's 3/4 of Leonard Skinner, it's still Skinner.
Yes.
Kinda. But you can still say, it's like, yeah, man, like, I was there in Daytona. Like, I'm going to tell the story when I was 80. When I'm 80. Like, yeah, I was there in Daytona back in 2021. Like, there was a band called Leonard Skinner, dude. Oh, my God. They played Freebird and Simple Man. And what a
Freebird was 42 minutes long.
Like, no, and they played the full song. Like,
damn.
I bet they did.
Dude,
that's nuts, man.
I've heard this song, I don't know how many times. And I remember just sitting there just like, okay, is it over yet? Like, it's like I really wanted to hear Simple Man, and Freebird just kept going.
That's how I felt about Butcher Babies. I was like, is it over yet? Like, I want to see GWAR. Like, I'm done.
Well, they did 9 songs.
It seemed like 20.
I'm gonna have to tell you the one song that sticks out I like the most out of them, because I looked it up when I got home, was Monsters Ball, the first song they did. Yeah. That really got the crowd going. Now, do you remember this, McShaft? Because basically, about this time right here, this is when the pit started going. Now, when Butcher Babies started unleashing on their set...
There's my bald spot right there in the back of my head.
Oh, yeah.
There he is.
That's a Cody head right there.
At that time, the crowd... We were over by next to one of the pillars, which you could see right there, Brady. Right. They had a pillar there, and they had another pillar there. And then right up front up there was the balcony.
Well, the reason why we were by the pillar was because Brittany wanted something to duck behind in case GWAR, got a little too much, like shooting stuff at her.
Yeah, that's right.
She's used a human shield. I mean, that just would have seemed more fitting given the concert and the band playing.
That's just it, though. Like, with the way it sprays, you really can't. Like, even if you're shorter, you still, get...
Yes, they get you. You cannot hide from GWAR. Take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive more into the conversation right here. But first, there's a couple things I do want to mention. Keep up with the latest shows and content from Podcast City Network over on podcastcity.net. Follow them on Facebook.com/Podcast City Network, Twitter @PodcastCityNet. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast City Network. On Twitch, Podcast City Network. Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Be creative, be yourself. Whether it's a sticker for your car, a t-shirt for that special someone, or a neck garter to keep safe during COVID-19, Podcast City Network has you covered. Grab the latest PCN gear today at podcastcity.net/shop to show your support for your favorite show or shows from Podcast City Network today. Want to start a podcast trying to grow your current show? Podcast City Network is here to help. We currently offer services for social media advertising, marketing, live stream hosting, custom logo design and branding, transcript services, custom intro and outro videos, audio-video editing, press kits, one-on-one consultants, and much more. So don't wait. Contact us today. podcastcity.net/services. Head over to the website, fill out the form, get in contact with Podcast City Network. Have you ever wanted to start a podcast but didn't know how? Do you already have a podcast but you don't know how to grow it? Are you trying to find ways to make your podcast profitable? You can learn how to do it here at Podcast City Network. We offer consultant services, tutorial classes to help with learning to better expand your knowledge to grow your show. We also give access to our network of shows to help with cross promotions, guests, and overall reach while becoming a part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. The best part is no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Fill out the contact form below right here over on podcastcity.net/join now and sign up today. Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Be creative, be yourself.
You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
After Butcher Babies was done, pretty much they had a 15-minute intermission. What does Everett Lee decide to do?
You want me to tell you what he decides to do? You ready? Smoke cigarette.
So I walked
He's gonna go
outside.
puff on one of them cancer sticks.
Now let me tell you my story of what happened. Check this out, Brady. You never did hear about this part here. So what happened was, I walked outside to have a smoke. All right, I'm walking out the door. There's nothing on the front there that says once you leave, you cannot come back.
Ooh.
So I walked out there. I walked around the corner, right up front there, and I'm sitting there smoking a cigarette.
Well, there's other people
Pop
out there
my
too
phone.
with you too.
Yeah, there was a lot of people out there. So they turned around and tried to go back in, and you had this 250-pound beefhead at the door there, sitting there with his arms crossed, and he told them they couldn't, told these guys they couldn't go back in. They're like, we just came out here to smoke a cigarette. You can't come back in. No re-entry. And they had a sign right outside the door there that said, once you get out there, you turn around and you look, you're like, oh man, I'm fucked. They don't say nothing right beforehand, which I thought was pretty damn messed up.
Yep.
So I walked out there. I'm like, damn. So you know what's really messed up? Check this out. So I'm standing out there smoking a couple cigarettes, and I'm texting. I'm like, damn, I can't get back in. Oh, shoot. So I think, did I text you?
Yeah.
I text you.
Yep.
And then I went in and
Well,
I
the
couldn't get a hold
the
of you.
signal wasn't that good, you know, because
Yeah.
you're inside that venue and stuff. So
Right.
it finally came through, and I was like, oh, fuck, Brittany. I'm like, he can't get back in. Like, I won't let him back in. I said, see if we can go over there and just, like, kind of casually pop the door open and let him run back in.
Oh, that's what you guys plan on. Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I didn't know that on that end. So I guess I was when I text Cody, I could not get back. He didn't respond back. So I went ahead and I looked up. I wasn't even friends with Brittany on Facebook. So I'm flipping through. I didn't even have her number. I'm sitting there like, oh shit, and I'm looking. So Mr. 250 Meathead, he looked like a young Dwayne Johnson. You know, yeah, with the fanny pack and everything,
Oh, man.
with the tight shirt on and his nipples showing through his shirt there. I hope he listens to this.
I mean, wearing
But,
all the rock apparel right now, head to toe.
But this is I'm just trying to give the visual what this guy looked like. Okay, this guy probably bounces.
meathead.
This guy probably bounces bodies 2 or 3 times a day,
Probably.
an hour or every 30 minutes. So these chicks, women that were in there, walked out. They come back up. He lets them in because of what they were wearing there.
So let me guess, you took your shirt off and were just like, let me in.
Oh, I was desperate. I probably would have done that. I probably would have done that.
Yeah.
So he's sitting there. I walk up to him, and I'm in the middle. I'm trying to figure out like how am I going to let. I was like, Cody hasn't responded back to me, Brady. I'm like, damn it, what the hell am I going to do? So I walked up to the guy and I'm like, hey, I just came all the way here from Daytona. My ride's in there, and I walked out here. You guys got nothing posted on the inside that says once you leave, you can't come back. You leave it on the outside. I called him out on it. The guy was like, nope. I said, nope. I was like, all right. So I walked back, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I get a hold of, I find Brittany on Facebook. I forget what her name was before she got, married.
Yeah.
Before you guys got married there. But I hit her up. I'm like, hey, I'm outside. I cannot get back in. The guy won't let me in. And then she texts me back, and she's like, tell him to let you in. And I'm like, I did. He won't let me in. Tell him to let you in. She's like yelling at me on there, like, tell him to let you in. Tell him your ride's in there. And then so what God must have been watching out for me that day, Brady. I'm serious, because another guy comes out and he's like, so you eat yet? And he's like, nope. That was his response. Nope. That was it. The only time he said anything different was the girls came by. He was like, yeah. Nope. I'm serious. So one guy comes out and he's like, it was like, hey, Frank, you eat yet? Nope. He's like, you want to grab something to eat? Yep. And all right, 2 things. So he leaves. So this guy comes walking in, and I walked up to him, and I said, hey, I walked outside. You guys don't got nothing out here to say inside that says once you leave, you can come back in. I've come all the way from Daytona, an hour and 30 minutes away. My ride's in there, and here I showed him like the stub. I said, I need to get back in. And the guy was cool. He said, all right, go back in there. He's like, don't let it happen again. I was like, yeah. So when I walked in, I'm looking around. It's like bright as shit outside, Brady. As soon as you walk in, it's like, you know how when you walk in from So I'm almost like this.
So just as GWAR starts to get on the stage, he comes popping up behind me. He's like, I made it!
I was so happy. And then all of a sudden,
he gets blasted in the face.
As soon as GWAR pops up on stage, it starts. You ever been to a small club where the crowd gets tight, where you're like this?
Yeah, it got tight.
Tell me about that. Now, it got tight.
Yes, and here's the worst part about it too, is that every time, because they had a pit too, and every time someone would get knocked into, the whole crowd would shift from one side, and then these people, they would shift back.
Like your feet are still, but everyone's just kind of doing a
Yes.
So then, of course,
I've never experienced that before.
Oh.
Now on top of that, GWAR's starting their set, and of course, they start their set off with a bang. They're sitting there, shooting blood, from all over the place. It's not real blood, but it's they're fake blood. And because it's so small of a place, everyone's tied together, like so close together. The floor is becoming a puddle. It's deep.
Yeah.
So it was probably almost, by the time half their set was over, it was almost like ankle deep. Yeah.
Well,
like you literally were just
look at the set list there. Look at all they played there. That's a lot of songs. They played my favorite one. They started out playing with "Sick of You." Actually, I think because they said almost accurate. Crush.
It wasn't. Sick of You was last.
Yeah, that was last because they got it listed on there. Yeah, they started out with Crush, Kill, Destroy, and
Meat Sandwich.
Yeah, is that when they brought in and they switched singers out real quick? Remember?
No, that was the same singer.
It was,
no. You know what they did? They had some weird alien guy that supposedly went back in time and killed Odorous, and he became the lead singer of GWAR, and then came back or something like that trying to sing. So they let him do one song or something like that, and then they came on stage and chopped his head off.
Naturally.
Yeah.
But everyone was just getting covered, and you're sweaty, getting covered with red, purple, green shit, and then everyone's kind of moving, swaying back and forth as the crowd's going, and people are slipping, and your feet, you're just stepping in just puddles of liquid, and it was. I mean, you just pray you didn't slip and fall because you weren't getting back up at that point.
Yeah, it was bad. It was Brady. I'll tell you this too, Cody. As we're sitting there and we're swaying back and forth, I was right next to Brittany. Oh, I've never heard her get mad and cuss so much before. she was getting mad, man. I was like, sweet little Brittany's getting mad. I'm like, oh damn. I'm going to stand behind Cody here because she starts swinging.
I had her in front of me. I was kind of holding onto her shoulder so she wouldn't get thrown around, and we were just getting tossed around all. It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was really.
They went through a pretty decent set. One of the highlights of their new lead vocalist, if you ever noticed it, I don't know if you noticed it at Rockville, was he has cow udders.
Yes.
And the cow udders aren't udders; they're little penises.
Right.
And they shoot blood out and stuff and everything. There's Bone Snapper.
Noticed that at Rockville, and like I said, the costume thing was real great, and it was just. It was a theatrical experience, to say the least, when we saw them play live at Rockville.
Yeah. Just looking at these pictures,
and I think
it's kind of like what you saw at Rockville there.
I think this was the first tour.
I think that when you guys saw them, it was probably still the old vocalist. I don't think it was the new vocalist.
No, this is the new vocalist.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, this was also, I think, the first or second tour they did after their old guitar player died too.
Some random guy's face. Oh,
that's me right there.
Yeah.
I was half lit. That's me having a good time.
Oh, the guy behind him, that's a white shirt. Now it's blue and everything else.
Yeah. That was my favorite part right there. They pulled out the Xanax.
The giant Xanax. They want, yeah. Yeah, that's good. I think that's Hillary too. I think holding it up.
Well, actually, no. If you look at this picture right here, look. Remember the guy with the rock?
Oh, the crack rock.
The crack
rock. Yeah, it's the big giant crack rock.
Did they have that there at Rockville?
The space crack rock.
No, Rockville. Oh Lord, what did they have? The robot?
Yeah.
The giant robot.
I think
there's a robot. Oh no, we didn't see the robot, but I've seen later videos.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Definitely don't remember a giant Xanax or a crack rock.
No, I think that was just on because I think this tour too was also like one of their almost anniversary tours. So they brought out some like older stuff like the crack rock they used to do back in the day.
There it is.
Oh, it says crack rock.
I love that. And then I think that was at this time. I think it was George W. It was before
was
Obama.
That W?
Yeah, it was before. Obama.
No, Obama was in office. No, that was.
High school.
Is that no? You know who that was? It was that John Kerry. I think it was.
John Kerry. Yeah,
that might have
looks
been
like John Kerry there. Yeah, they chop off a political person's head.
Or that might have been like just a
random guy.
There's
the sword. That was there.
That was there. Okay.
Was it Schwarzenegger? No, it wasn't Schwarzenegger. No, who was that?
I always like this guy right there.
Oh.
From the videos and stuff. Watching.
Oh, Balzac.
Yeah, I like him.
He's funny because he has the big goat legs, but he also has a giant ball sack that just swings it around and stuff as he's playing. It looks like two pairs of coconuts, pretty much. What it looks like.
I mean, why would it make it look like a
ball sack the destroyer?
Did you see that there at Rockville? Did you notice ball sack?
I liked it for the experience, just to say that I saw GWAR. But I can't tell you that I sat there and paid attention to every detail. It was very theatrical. It was very.
I can tell you what, seeing them in a festival, is probably a completely different experience than seeing them in a club like this.
100%. Especially when you're thinking that you have to walk around the rest of the night of however this is fixing to go.
And I would highly recommend every time for GWAR a small club like that to get the whole experience.
And they've been around a long time.
Yes.
And I think it's a different generation of metal. I just have never... I've never had the desire, to just... Oh, man, I want to go see GWAR, I don't know. It was really over the top.
I want to go see him again and again and again.
I would
it's so fun.
I'd like to see him again.
I mean,
what is this now? That
was when that guy came, that whatever it was, came back after he supposedly killed Odorous and wanted to take over GWAR as the lead singer.
So
and it was a giant creature. And you see, there's a foot at the top.
Yeah.
And his head is down there, where his asshole is. So it's like a giant, I think, asshole with feet or something like that.
So the eyeball down there is coming out of.
Yeah. See.
I don't. I think that might be the penis. I don't know.
That's so much to get out on.
Oh, it is. It is. No. Well,
it took up half the stage.
One of my favorite things about, it's people go to the Blue Man Group, and they get covered with their water and stuff and everything that they throw out, and it's like. You go to GWAR, you just get covered in fake blood stuff. It's a whole
corn syrup
in the world that will argue with you right now that getting covered in water, seeing the Blue Man Group, is slightly different than being covered in fake blood.
Oh, definitely, but it's the fact that you go to a show for the theatrics and the interactive experience of it.
Right.
And that's
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. I've
seen
on
Blue
the
Man.
side of like
I've seen
I'd rather
Blue
get
Man.
splashed with a little bit of water than walk around with like sopping wet clothes for the rest of the night.
I've seen Blue Man Group. It's pretty cool.
I have too. It was pretty cool. It was one of the last shows I got to see with my mother-in-law before she passed away.
You know, one of my favorite parts about when Odorous was still alive.
Uh-huh.
My favorite parts about GWAR when he was still the singer was his phallus was a giant Venus flytrap.
Venus flytrap.
Kind of like the plant from what's that? Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so he had that to the whole set, and like maybe halfway or 3/4 of the set, they would hook it up, and he would shoot green goo out of his
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like one of my highlights back in the day. And then now they got of course the new vocalist with his 4 penis udders.
Penis
udders.
Yeah.
I love what I love is I wonder how long do you think these guys it takes for them to come up with this stuff and create everything? How long do you think how many hours do you think they spent?
All kind they all. I mean, I think they pretty much all live in Richmond area. I think up there because they own the GWAR bar.
Yeah.
They have their bar, and I think a couple of the guys. I want to say they're I want to say the 2 guitar players maybe, or the drummer and the guitar player. They're cooks that work at the GWAR bar, so they cook and stuff there.
But I mean, this band's been around for 20, 30 years.
They pretty much spend their off time from the tour just coming up with ideas, and they probably get together and
About how many hours do you think they spend on coming up with a costume design? How long do you think these guys
I
do?
think if you sat down for a weekend and this is personal experience from having conversations with Cody, we could probably act out a good couple years worth of stuff just by some of the simple phrases that I've heard come out of his mouth in 24 hours, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, also too, they have the knowledge of how to take all the styrofoam and the molding.
The molding.
Oh no, 100%.
Yeah, I bet they do.
Everything about this is an art form, however you look at it.
If you look at their costumes over the years, there's very slight modifications they do to it. It's pretty much the same concept. So I think as far as making and coming with ideas, it's very quick because there's I'm just gonna do different feet maybe on this, or maybe a little bit different of a face, but it's all pretty much the same thing. I think their biggest challenge, to be honest, what takes the most is what are they gonna do for a stage show that tops what they did before.
Yeah, they try to outdo themselves. What band does not try to outdo themselves the next following night?
Creed.
Okay, but yeah, there's
Bad Wolves are a mediocre cover of Zombie.
Whoa.
There's
Seven Kingdoms cover of Barracuda destroys Bad Wolves cover.
You're comparing two vastly different genres of music here.
His opinion.
Yeah.
His opinion.
You're entitled to it.
He's entitled to it, man. He's entitled to it, and you're entitled to agree, and you're entitled to disagree.
I'm gonna say right now, fuck Bad Wolves.
Oh man, and they're playing Rockville coming up, and that's.
I feel sorry for everyone else to watch them.
I'm gonna go see them though.
Brady.
I mean, I wish it was Tommy Beck's. I do. It's not, but we'll see what happens. Live and learn.
So this is towards the end right here. This picture right here. This is at the end of it. So
that's definitely Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they chopped off her head. So this was funny.
Tits off too, I think.
I love the theatrics.
It's a shame it wasn't real.
No matter it don't matter if you're left, right, up, down, center, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, whatever political figure you are, if GWAR knows you and they will recreate you on stage and chop your head off.
Yep.
No one's safe.
Nope.
So after the concert,
we
can't really see that right there,
that
Brady.
was a white shirt.
Check this out.
Oh yes.
Now, when they were spitting out I'll tell you about this right here, Brady. When they were shooting out the fake blood, I jumped up and I went like this,
caught it in the mouth,
and all over me, just completely soaked.
You want to hear the sad thing? Is that my first time, probably first, second, third time ever seeing GWAR? See how you can still tell my skin color is what it is. My first 3 times seeing them, I was red. I was red.
What did you go ahead and write on that shirt there?
Human slave.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, right here. Now look at me. If you don't, on the top of my head up here.
Oh, I can see it.
It's red right there. See it? my hair was red. I was red.
He also dyed his hair Kool-Aid when he was a teenager too and made it red. So he's used to having red hair.
So that's basically what we looked like there.
Man, those camo shorts have been through.
Oh no!
Well, look how clean they look. Still, look at mine soaked. Look at that.
Listen. I had 4 pairs of those camo shorts.
So it's all the same pair?
No.
Cody, I've lived the last 10 years of my life thinking that was the same pair of camo shorts that we've I've got multiple pictures of us in these camo shorts.
So here's what it is. When I find a really good pair of like pants or shorts that I like a lot that fit really well and do what I need to do, I'll buy like 3 or 4 pairs of them because I go through pants or shorts, like a lot. So those particular shorts, they have these really big pockets on the side, like fit a lot of good. I used to fit like whole cheeseburgers and stuff.
Well, yeah,
but that was when I used to sneak in the movie theaters, So it's like I could fit good stuff in there, and they were comfortable. So I had like 3 or 4 pairs of those shorts. So like whenever one would get like worn out, I had the next one ready to go.
Yeah, but that was the thing, man. I think I remember us being at Delaney Rock and Metal Festival one year. There was at least 5 or 6 of us that had a pair of those camo cargo shorts on. That just like.
Yeah.
Look at that right there, Mr. and Mrs. Cody, right there, McShaft. Look at that, just tore up with the blood there. That's.
I don't remember what shoes I'm wearing. What shoes am I wearing?
Probably those black DVSs that you wore for years and years and years and years.
Yeah, I love those DVSs.
God, man, I remember them just looking like boats on your feet.
I was trying to remember what shoes I had here. I think these are my Vans I had. Yes, they are. Because if you look right there, I still got...
Oh, no, because you had your Supras on. That was when you got those Supras, the black Supras with the gold on them.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The Supras.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Supras.
Yeah, you wore the hell out of those shoes. Yeah, you wore the hell out of those shoes there.
I love the Supras. Now I got Crocs.
Yeah. I mean, look at these.
Now I got Crocs.
Yeah.
You ain't rocking if you ain't
These
rocking.
shorts here, these jean shorts I'm wearing,
they
don't even fit me no more. That's 2015 right there.
My camo shorts still fit me.
Yeah, mine don't.
All 4 pairs.
I had to mend a hole in the crotch, but they're good.
Mine don't. But now, let me tell you the aftermath, because when the show was over, Brady, now this is the best part. This is my favorite part of the evening. When the concert ended, and after they played the encore, they said, yes, I did. Yes. But after they said good night, they opened up the doors, letting everyone out. On their way walking out, who did I run into from earlier? Who did I run into? Mr. Beefhead. He's sitting there looking right there, and I walked right by him. I said, have a good night. And he looked like that. He looked right at me, like, yeah, I got back in. I gave him a look like, yeah, I got back in. MFer. I got back in.
MFer.
I was like, I got back in. So we walked to the car. I ended up changing out my shirt, because you're like, okay, remember the extra pair of clothes I told you to. So thank God, I changed right there, and we pretty much all of us changed out and got in the car and drove back to Daytona.
Yep.
Now, when I got back to Daytona, I walk in the door. My wife looked at me and she's like, "Oh my God, it looks like you just came back from
slaughtered a cow."
Yeah, slaughtered a cow, homicide. I think that's what she said. It looked like I came back from a homicide or something there. And I went and jumped in the shower. I took a shower, and I had to take 2 showers to get everything off. So I'm sitting there in the shower trying to scrub myself, trying to scrub off all that corn syrup fake blood.
That was my next question. What do you guys think? Like, corn syrup's pretty thick.
It is.
That was, I don't know if it was corn syrup, because it wasn't like thick.
thick.
It wasn't thick. You can just kind of hear the way Cody says thick as it rolls off his tongue.
I think it was probably what I think, like either water with red food coloring or like a red Gatorade.
I mean, you got it in your mouth. You should have, gotten a
Yeah, I'll
pretty
tell
good
you what it
taste.
tasted like. It actually tasted. It tasted. Believe it or not, it did taste sweet. Corn syrup does taste sweet, don't it?
It could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably watered it down a little bit.
Oh, it'd have to be watered
down.
And then threw some like extra red food coloring in it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I'm just. Maybe I'm thinking too far into it.
I mean, have they ever revealed what they make that of?
But you would have to make it a pretty. I don't use the term user friendly, but I don't know how else to really word it.
Well, basically, I mean, they have like drums.
No. I understand what it's kept in, but I'm saying
they,
I'm just thinking of like if you make some type of concoction that somebody's highly allergic to. I mean, the odds are always there.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking you would, as a PR standpoint, you would want to avoid that headline of like, fan dies at GWAR concert after getting shot in the face with fake blood containing blah 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 whatever.
I mean, I think it's one of those things where it's like, you kind of know ahead of time, like you're gonna get covered in something. If you have anything that kind of irritates
you absolutely 100% know. But you and I both know that there are certain people that walk this earth that are not the brightest.
No,
they're
not.
And that are still going to try to, like, I didn't know it.
They shop at Walmart every day.
Yeah. Well, what I think is because when they basically they put it, I remember seeing back years ago them talking about how they make it themselves, and it's with natural stuff that don't do,
And that's his response. He holds up a Michael sticker from The Office. Just,
nice.
I brought props because, last time we did this, almost
20 years ago.
6 years ago.
6 years ago.
We had we were on camera. So I brought little, like, meme sticker props. And, like, I was ready to just, like, every time somebody said something, just...
You're going to...
Yeah. He got the Doge dogs on there, too.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Mr. Elon.
So what do you got there?
I've got Homer's Woohoo, naturally. I mean,
Nice.
You gotta have it. I don't know this one, but, I thought
That's the face of, that's not just a fart.
Ooh. I've got Kim Kardashian saying tragic.
Oh, my God.
The hollering, oh, my God guy.
Oh, my God.
A seal with a bucket?
Yeah, but it's a Disney seal.
Disney
From
seal.
a movie.
Pixar.
Oh, that's...
Finding Nemo?
Yeah, I think it's so. Finding Nemo. Yeah.
No, this is more than Finding Nemo. This was a Disney movie that came out, like, well after we were not watching Disney. I can't recall. Michael Scott from The Office just...
Yes. I was actually watching The Office today. Yes.
Overly obese Chinese child saying,
yes.
What?
I want Chinese food.
I want Chinese food?
And then, oh no, Gibby didn't like that from iCarly. I
Yes.
thought that was pretty funny.
Yes.
Your standard Doge dog.
From Mr. Elon Twitter Musk.
Ooh.
Well,
Twitter Daddy.
Bottom line.
Twitter Zaddy.
Let me end the discussion with the GWAR. What happened? So when I got home, I took 2 showers to get the stuff out. So I got it off. I scrubbed myself down. I get out of the shower. I dry off everything, and I go change. So my wife goes in the bathroom, and I'm out here. I'm on the couch. I'm like, man. I'm like, my ears are ringing. I'm buzzing. I'm like, I need to kind of try to chill out because it's, how hard it is for you when you get home after a concert. You try to kind of chill yourself out. Yep. You try to relax, try to, get rid of the adrenaline from the concert. So I was sitting there doing that. She comes in and she's like, what the fuck did you do in my bathtub? I said, what? She said, look at this. So walked in there and I looked. There was a red and blue ring all around the bathtub, and it lasted. Huh? What?
Does he know it helps after a concert to calm down? Some Xanax.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that. But
melatonin.
I
get fed one every once in a while.
But pretty much that was an experience there that I'll never forget, because we got the pictures there to show that, hey, this is what happened in 2015 when we went and seen GWAR. Yep. And it's something I'll never forget, and I'll always cherish. And we finally, after how many years? 7 years. Yeah. 7 years, finally, on this 250 episode, get to talk about it. It took us that damn long.
Yeah.
It took us that damn long to talk about it.
This is McShaft, a.k.a. Dr. Chad Thundercock, with Brady Gibson, the man with 2 left feet, and the one and only eccentric, yet crazy, yet semi-senile, Everett Lee.
That's right.
And we are signing off.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Finally, after 7 years, GWAR, the Forgotten Concert, is now not forgotten anymore. We talked about it. Finally, after 7 years. Yeah, man. And I'm glad that McShaft and the man with 2 left feet, Brady Gibson, came out. Perfect fitting for this 250th episode of the Everett Lee Show. The people that tune in and support what I do, you guys push me. You push me. You make me go the distance. And I thank you for it. And I thank all the great, amazing guests I've had on in the last 250 episodes. So where do I go now? Because there's been times where I've told my wife, 250, I'm good. I'm satisfied. I'm good. I could go 300, but 250, I feel comfortable. At the point where I could just drop this microphone and walk away and be happy with everything I've accomplished in the last 8 years. The only regrets I would have is not getting the guest that I've been wanting to get on, that I've not had on. I made a list at the beginning of the year. I could get those guests on if I try hard enough. I know I can. I know this support from people who support me know I can. But I'm contemplating on that line. Should I just shut this microphone off, walk away, and just continue being a blue-collar worker and support my family with 2 jobs? And just walk away from the failed attempt of doing graphic designs on my own. I'm contemplating on it. Seriously, I'm at that point in my fucking life. But I don't know. I don't know what else is going to happen. I'm signing off. Everyone, have a great day, great week, month, and year. Goodbye.